she went off. So I wouldn't even put Joe Giudice on the list. I would put Fame over Joe Giudice any day. But it's the show. The show is her livelihood. That it's a moneymaker for her. Without it, I don't know what she would do. And actually, for Jennifer Aydin, without the show, she's gonna go fucking crazy because number one, she built that big ass house for the show. Everything she sits there and brags about is for the show, for appearance, for that so-called life. And if she's no longer a housewife on the show, what is she going to do? I mean, she told us she was going to go back to counting cars and bathrooms. That says it all. Not I'm going back, to parenting my kids or spending more time with my girls. She was going to go count fucking toilets and cars. So that she's going to go crazy. And as diehard as Jennifer Aydin is for Teresa will not reciprocate that with Jennifer Aydin. So if Jen is off the show, we will still see Jen pushing to be at Teresa's side, like maybe at dinners or with friends. But I don't think Teresa will give her that much time of day after Jen gets the boot.
You don't, because look, I mean, if Jen is off the show and Teresa's on, it's very simple. This isn't like real life, guys. Like producers will say to Teresa, she cannot come to filming. You don't see a fired housewife show up the next season to film unless they're asked to be a friend of, like Alexis eventually. You can't just show up at a filming. So we won't see Jennifer. I agree with you because people don't realize, like, however close they may be, by the time Teresa signs a contract, meets her new cast, films with her new cast, I think when they're done filming, maybe in that little break, she'll see Jen again. But then the show comes out. Now there's a whole new drama. There's press. There's drama with new people. By the end of that next season, I agree with you. It's going to be like, not a whole new Teresa inside, but it'll be different. She's not, I agree. I don't think she's
No, I
going
think
to,
I think
right?
all these little leeches like behind the scenes, like the hairstylist and the makeup artist and the old has been that are clinging to Teresa in hopes that they can get on for next season. I don't think Bravo's even going to want them there because they're not going to want toxicity and all these girls, that Teresa has in her corner are nothing but toxic trolls and they're not going to want some has-been from fucking 6 seasons ago coming
No
in and
way.
talking shit to whoever else is on. They want to get away from the toxicity. And if we watch Jennifer Aydin on social media, it's one toxic thing after another with that girl. So I just think the show is pushing away from the toxicity. I'm not going to sit here and say Teresa's fired, but I don't know what Bravo's going to do with her because she was part of the Toxic Twins, and that's her and Jen Aydin. Everything that came out, everything that I put out, everything that we spilled last season that Teresa was involved in. I mean, very toxic. And the show wants to get away from that. They want a fresh start, but a whole reboot might be a little dangerous. So again, we might see Teresa, we might not. They might give her a spinoff and send her on her way after her, season of her spinoff. But I don't see Teresa and these trolls coming in next season and starting drama. And they just don't want the toxicity. I don't see it happening.
We're not going to go on a major pause, even if Teresa comes back. Look, if she comes back with Dolores, she's coming back with more people that are 32 to 42. We are not right. We're not going to have these has-beens from the past that are in their 60s. I'm not age shaming. I ain't no spring chicken over here. I would love all my housewives to be in there, but it's not the look of the show. They're not going to do it. They want a whole new feel after this.
No, and they're not
Period.
going to have those girls. They're not going to have those girls on period because those girls are
Mm-mm.
soldiers. I mean, I'm glad you brought up Dolores right now because I do see a lot of Teresa's hardcore fans bashing Dolores, and they're doing that for a reason.
Why?
They know Dolores is not going to be a soldier for Teresa the way Jen Aydin is. Dolores is not going to get her hands dirty with bloggers or behind the scenes, setting people up, doing Teresa's dirty work for Teresa. Dolores isn't going to roll like that because Dolores is just worried for Dolores. She's not like loyal to Teresa in the sense where she needs Teresa for the storyline like Jen Aydin. So she's not going to go do Teresa's bidding the way Jen does. And so what they're doing, her fans, is they're trashing Dolores, talking about how she's boring. We don't want her. She's this, she's that, in hopes that the network will say, oh, well, the majority is saying we don't like Dolores, so let's not bring Dolores. But that's only because Dolores won't step up to the plate like Jen Aydin and soldier for Teresa. Because if you think about it, let's say they're not going to they're not bringing back Jen Aydin. They bring back Teresa. Who is Teresa going to have do her dirty work for her? Because if we know anything to be true based off of Teresa's history, is what she has other people do her dirty work. She had, that has been from seasons back with the fashion show, always like starting shit for her. She had obviously Jennifer Aydin all these years. She's always had like a friend. Remember, there was just so many people. Like they already. Oh, Penny.
I mean, you could argue Penny. She was on my podcast. Yeah, you could argue Jacqueline at one point. You could argue Staub at one point, even though Danielle is a fucking icon. But go on.
Yeah, so Jen Aydin's not back. Dolores is there. Who is going to do Teresa's dirty work? You really think she's going to be like quick with it, with the tongue to step up and put people in their place and bring out receipts? Teresa can't even finish a sentence on her podcast. You really think she's going to remember someone's dirty laundry to step up and throw it in their fucking face and have that it moment like the way Margaret does? Like I don't think so. She's not quick with it like that. So it's not going to work. And Teresa is very much a villain. So she can't go in there and be nicey with everybody and just be like that friend. She has to be the one to show up with the drama, but she always had that soldier. And without the soldiers, and we know Dolo's not going to do it, what is she really going to step up to the plate? Like I'm even seeing, David, this was a recent post. I'm seeing some of Teresa's fans push that like, hey, everybody, let's remember Teresa's the it girl. Look at the wedding ratings for her and Louie's wedding ratings. Like, look at those, like that speaks volumes or whatever. And I just thought, oh my dear God, are they really telling us to pay attention to their wedding ratings? First of all, if we pay attention to the trailer for the wedding special, it involved the Gorgas and all that drama with them fighting. So that's probably 50% of the reason why people even tuned in, because we know they didn't tune in to see Louie Ruelas because he was hated. He was even hated by her assistant, Carrie Ann, which is why she was behind the scenes at the time talking to Vanessa Reiser to get the real scoop about who this creep was. So no one was tuning in for the it girl and her amazing husband and their wedding. They were tuning in because there was drama surrounding the Gorgas, and it was coming off of a very volatile. Am I saying it right?
I say volatile, but
volatile.
It's the same thing.
Toxic season where we had them talking about Melissa Gorga kissing Nick and this and that, and then boom, all of this drama on social media with the Gorgas, and then they were fighting, and then Jen Aydin brings them up, and it was just like continuing from the show's drama with other cast members involved. So no, Teresa didn't just pull in those ratings because of Teresa and Louie. That was a cast effort. So I mean, it's crazy how they're just like pulling at her, saying she's the it girl. There's no Jersey without her. Like, yes, give her what's due, but she is not solely responsible for these ratings. So pulling that card is not going to work. And if she really was like that top tier wife, if she was really like, now that I'm watching Beverly Hills, I'm kind of taking a look at Kyle, like her substance, like shit. We are being ripped off in Jersey. Are these girls really bringing us these flat storylines versus other franchises? Like, it's insane. Like, no, there's nothing there anymore.
The other thing with Teresa's wedding special, I think, is like, as much as Louie